Apparently last night I left a YouTube window open on my computer. YouTube in its wandering algorithmic way will play video after video. So I woke up to hearing someone talking in tones and phrasing that sounded very much like Barack Obama. And indeed, it was a long conversation between Barack Obama and history professor Heather Cox Richardson before an audience. Both Obama and Richardson are deep thinkers about the situations that confront us all, the things that matter to all of us. Obama was talking about how the world had changed during his lifetime, how technology had both helped us and harmed us by fracturing our unity. He told how, when he was running for the Senate, the young people he could afford to hire back then were very savvy about the nascent internet. How web pages, something he had barely heard about at the time, could be set up to recruit volunteers and to solicit donations. He loved what they showed him and decided to get out of their way and let them follow that path. He talked about the era of Walter Cronkite, watched by millions as he reported the news every evening on CBS. About the idea that we had a common sense of truth, however filtered that truth may have been, I will note, that we had many different opinions, as people have had forever, but we did agree on basic facts. The sky was blue, up was up, and down was down. And this sense of common truth continued throughout the early years of the World Wide Web. Cell phones became available to everyone on the planet, and a lot of people discovered there was a rich world out there that they had never known about before. They wanted to participate in it too, but many felt that they would never be able to, that it was out of reach for them. So dissatisfaction and resentment increased around the world as many people felt left out. Many set out to move to places where that wealth was centered, Europe and the United States. And then social media entrepreneurs discovered they could make money through advertising, and they could justify charging more for their advertising by proving they could hold people's attention. After that, they discovered they could hold people's attention by feeding fear and anger and discord. They could create algorithms that raise the visibility of user posts and videos informed by fear and outrage and discord and by conspiracy theories. And finally, power-hungry disruptors, such as Steve Bannon, discovered that, for their own purposes, truth, the commonly held sense of truth, could be destroyed by endlessly flooding social media with disinformation, to the point that people couldn't know anymore what is true, making truth irrelevant. Bannon called it flooding the zone with shit, and these disruptors proceeded to do exactly that. They destroyed the sense of commonly held truth and have, to a large degree, made truth seem irrelevant to many people. It got me thinking about technology in general. Obama got me thinking about how, during my young years, I saw automation eliminate factory jobs. Now, and Obama pointed this out, AI is on the path to eliminating a lot of white-collar jobs as well. My question is, and has been for a while, when finally no one is working, when no ordinary person is earning an income, because tech has eliminated almost all jobs, where is the money going to come from? To further enrich the billionaires who are funding the tech explosion and the oligarchs who receive their money from you and me, the work we do and the money we spend on their product. Who is going to buy what they have to sell if the mass of people are in abject poverty? Because of two key court decisions back in the 1800s, the law in the United States regards corporations as legal persons. The Supreme Court held that corporations have constitutional protections, the right to hold property, enter contracts, and to sue, and that corporations can be sued. All of the wealth that corporations hold, who is it for? Corporations don't eat, don't need a warm bed at night, don't love anyone, and don't need love. It's not a long leap to ask, will AI also be granted personhood? Science fiction writers have long asked whether we, in fact, are on the way to creating a race of unreal persons, robots eventually, who will replace humanity. Will they feel? Will they have souls? Will they have lives worth living? And are we humans content to allow them to drive us to extinction, or to make us their pets or their slaves? I worked for most of my life as a software engineer, which is a glorified term for a computer programmer. Software engineers would bristle at my saying that, but it was true for me. Programming fascinated me, and it was work that my brain was well suited for. Yet I also see that I have been a part of the galloping, untethered advance of technology. As a programmer, I always believed that I would have a job if I wanted it. I see now that that was a narrow view, a short-sighted view, that nothing could replace the kind of work that requires thinking, what I consider to be human thinking. It never occurred to me that the software development field could pass me by, could render my work obsolete. Well, what conceit. I remember my brother-in-law, Dave, 20 years ago working at Bell Labs and talking about someone he knew who worked there. This person pompously stated that he was writing programs that would make all of our programming jobs obsolete. Maybe this guy was working on AI. I don't know. AI seems to hold huge promise, but it also seems to hold a huge threat. It's on my mind a lot. It's on the minds of a lot of us. Technology has brought bigger and bigger changes, and it has brought it faster and faster at a rate that many of our brains struggle to adapt to. I think a lot of us are suffering from what, back in the 1970s, author Alvin Toffler called future shock. Well, that future is here now, and I have to say I am struggling with it. Okay, now here's the really ironic thing I just did. I gave all of the words I've just spoken to you to ChatGPT. Then I went out to the living room to pet my beautiful black kitty, Elvira, who, as far as I can tell, doesn't have a single thought about society, jobs, or artificial intelligence. ChatGPT affirmed all of the things I have said here. It says that I am doing what thoughtful people have always done, trying to understand the world as it changes under my feet. I've found ChatGPT to be very good at stroking the ego while responding to questions. But let me summarize ChatGPT's response, the positive parts. First is that humanity has weathered tech revolutions before, starting with movable type and the printing press. Every major tech upheaval caused fear and disruption, but societies eventually rebalanced. We are currently in such a transitional time. The second is that the issues I'm raising here, truth, work, meaning, personhood, are exactly the discussions societies must have to help shape how we adapt to this future. Well, great, and I accept those points, but that still doesn't answer the question of how I find work in the present that I am capable of performing, or some other fairly immediate income source, of how I individually survive, how any of us does. And it doesn't answer the question of how we address the problems that are threatening the very existence of life on Earth, global warming in particular, when truth itself is being rendered irrelevant. I wish the best of luck to us all. Let's keep asking these questions and pushing for the positive, adaptive changes that we want and need.